RT Media Tech Tip. RTM World, sharing industry knowledge. Over the years, the OEMs have employed a number of anti-competitive tactics, starting with adding a chip, then individual chips for each colour, stronger encryption, and then firmware updates, all effectively designed to irritate and frustrate customers into not using aftermarket cartridges. Brother inkjet printers have just launched another style of chip, this time with serial numbers. There are 5 styles of printers in the Brother range that take the LC432, that's what it's called in Australia. In the US it's called LC402 and the UK 422. And there are a further 8 printers that take the LC436 in Australia, LC406 it's called in the US, and in the UK it's called the LC426, that all have this new style chip to irritate and frustrate the aftermarket industry. There are 2 styles of chips, one with permanent memory and the other with interval memory. The permanent memory chips need a new serial number every time. So to make it easy, we'll just call those serial numbers A, B, C, D, E. If you install a cartridge with a serial number A chip, the printer will register and remember that number. If you then install another cartridge with a serial number A chip, the printer will reject it. You'll need to swap that cartridge or chip out for another serial number. We'll call that B. When cartridge B runs out, and if you install another A, it will be rejected. If you then take that out and installed it with a B, that will be rejected because it's already had A and B before and it's remembering those codes. You need to install a new cartridge with a different serial number, and we'll just call that C. So you can see that this printer has a permanent memory and it needs a new serial number every time. You can't use the same serial number twice in this printer. And as it goes on, you'll need a version D, E, F, G, anything different from what it's had before. The other style of chip is the interval memory type. This one can't use the same serial number as the previous cartridge. So in this case, you can install an A and it'll register. If you install another A, it won't register. So you need to take that out and use a B instead, a B style or something different. If you then install an A, it's not a problem because it's only remembering the last cartridge it's had or the last style of chip. So the printers with permanent memory in Australia use the LC432, the USA it's the 402 and the UK 422. The printers with interval memory in Australia are the 436, the US the 406 and the UK 426. Both styles of printers will cause rejections, but the interval memory is the lesser of 2 evils. You can identify what version chip is installed on the cartridge by looking at the code. The chip version in this case is an A1 series. It's a 432 XL, and then the colour is yellow, and then we have the serial number, in this case N2. So this is a A1 N2 chip, and being that it's a printer that has permanent memory using the 432 cartridges, it could never have another A1 N2 installed. It could accept an A1 N1 or an A1 N3 chip. At the time of this video, a new chip series will be launched every 40 to 45 days. So the next chip series will be called A2, followed by A3, A4, etc. And in that A2 series, again, you'll have N1, N2, N3 version chips. That chip version and serial number will be marked on the box. For some reason, the factory only included the chip version on the original shipments of these cartridges. Both numbers are important to be able to track what's going to work in the customer's printer. So we've insisted that the factory include this information on the bottom of every box. I'm sure other people will copy this, but if your supplier doesn't copy it, insist that they start putting this information on their boxes. It's not good for the industry if some suppliers don't include this information on the bottom of the box and customers start getting rejections and therefore going back to OEMs. That's no good for any of us, so if your supplier's not doing it, force them to do it or change suppliers. So retailers need to ask their customers, have you used compatibles before? Have you used compatibles before? If you don't do this, there's a chance that the customer will put in a cartridge that's already had the same serial number, the printer will reject it, and the customer gets angry and frustrated. You have the ability to manage the situation and make sure the customer gets the correct working cartridge every time. Happy customers gives you repeat business. And even though this is another irritation caused by the OEMs, it is actually a double-edged sword because you can use this to your advantage because other retailers just won't be able to keep up. If you supply cartridges that work and other people supply them that don't work, you win the business. But you do need to be able to track what cartridges you're selling your customers. If you do get a rejection due to the serial number, the good news is you can actually put that cartridge into a different printer and it'll work fine. as long as it hasn't had that serial number before. So ask the customer, have you used compatibles before? Have you used compatibles before? Or if it's an existing customer, make sure they haven't used that serial number. It's very important that you track exactly what you sell each of your customers. That way you'll avoid having any rejection issues. Educate customers it's smarter to only buy cartridges from you. If they do go off and buy cartridges from someone else or buy something online, they might have rejections and then hopefully come back to you. You'll be able to manage their chip versions so they don't get rejections and continue to buy from you. And now I'll give you some selling tips from our point of view. At the time of this video, a new series of chips will be launched every 40 to 45 days. Each series have 2 serial numbers for colour, N1 and N2, and 3 serial numbers for black, N1, N2 and N3. Value packs contain either 4 N1s, 4 N2s, 3 N1 colours and an N3 black, or 3 N2 colours and an N3 black. The factory assumption is that people will not use more than 2 colours and 3 blacks per month. For permanent memory printers, there are some important points. Don't sell more than 2 colours from the same series, let's say A1 or A2 or A3, and obviously that includes the value packs. Web stores that like to sell sets of 5, there's a no-go. Turn your stock quickly. Order the newest series. Don't get caught with old stock on your shelf. If you are not the only supplier to a customer, assume that customers have used an older series before. And I'll finish with some common sense buying tips. Buy from a supplier that has a track record of keeping updated chips. Buy from a supplier that gets monthly shipments so they don't have old stock. Buy from a supplier that knows their stock and can support you properly. This has been another RT Media Tech Tip. RTM World, sharing industry knowledge.